Paige said random, but have we seen how Twitter has been on Tyler's head recently? It is very interesting because low key, high key, I know this sounds crazy, but I understand both sides. It's very, I feel like the thing about Tyler, a lot of the conversation that's happening, it's like five different conversations all at the same time. And so it's a little like multi layered. So, first of all, I didn't become a Tyler fan until after the antics and everything. I always say this, like I remember when Tyler first came out and he was eating that roach, and I said, "Nah, I don't think I'm super good." And like the vibe was always like a very angsty, rebellious type of like I couldn't get into it. So like when I started listening to Tyler, it was after Flower Boy. It was like right Flower Boy, Igor, and then I listened to Igor and I was like, "Oh wow, this is so different." Yeah, like the stuff that he was putting out before was real like shock value stuff. So it's interesting because the way that Tyler came out on the scene and the way he is now, it's like a 180. It's like a completely different. It's real weird. But also, I understand because mind you, even though I became a Tyler fan later on in the game and like I kind of knew some stuff, but this past weekend, I was seeing tweets and videos that I've never seen before and I said, "Whoa, brother. Whoa. This is some whoa, what is this?" It's interesting because like someone else was referring to him as being like a reverse Kanye, like with his the way that he has done this kind of 180, right? And so it's interesting because you have a group of people that already knew how Tyler was and have seen like the changes with his journey in his career, but you also have a big group of people that are not familiar with like how early Tyler was. Like I was talking to my sister about it last night and she was like, "Damn, what do you think about all this Tyler stuff?" And I was telling her the same thing that I'm telling y'all, and I was telling her like I remember the first time I saw Tyler the Creator and he ate that roach and I was like, "Absolutely not." And my sister was like, "He did what?" "He ate a roach." And so like you also have a group of people that didn't know any of this, and so they're seeing a lot of this for the first time and they didn't see like the edgy Tyler because again, I thought we not were all on the same page, but we all kind of knew what it was to a certain extent. um but it's also hard too because I feel like with this conversation, we as people, they didn't come to his birthday party. I also feel like with this conversation, we as people have to ask ourselves what what does accountability look like? When we're looking for people to like be accountable for their actions, what does accountability look like? Because yes, mind you, Sagal, I feel like we have this conversation like every 5 years. What does accountability look like and what is the end goal? Because this conversation keeps popping up every couple years, I feel like it's been addressed in the music. I feel like it's been addressed in the interview. Even though it's been addressed, I do find it crazy that all the tweets and pictures and stuff is still up. I would have deleted them. I think that's crazy. But I guess I'm asking, what are people looking for? Like if he said something about it, would that be enough to, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense? Like, even if he came out today and said again, "Damn, I was wilding," and you know, I was wilding. That like, is that enough to, or maybe he just needs to delete the tweets after he said he was sorry. Ray said no matter what, if he speaks on there or not, people won't be satisfied. So what's the overall growth? What's the overall goal? Terrence said people never allow room for growth. Mob said, I feel like it's like looking at your past and seeing what you learned, not running from it, but accepting that you've been there and you're past that. You learned and you don't want to repeat the same issue. Trey said, I feel like there's a difference between refusing accountability and refusing to live in a never ending apology loop. Tyler has addressed his past multiple times, not just in interviews, but through his actual art. Songs like Manifesto and Sorry Not Sorry literally talk about the old tweets and his growth since then. He's even made fun of himself on stage about people trying to cancel him for things he said as a teenager. Mind you, I hate to advocate for the devil, but mind you, a lot of the stuff that he was saying, he wasn't just a teenager. He was in his early 20s. I just want to say that for the record. I just want to say, because a lot of people were saying, yeah, he was a teenager. Well, some of them you were in your 20s. I know we were saying some wild shit in our 20s, but okay, let me catch up. Sagal said, I agree with deleting the tweets, but people were like, he could delete them, but we're going to keep shoving them down your throat. Yeah, so I'm also wondering, even if he does apologize, what's to say that this isn't going to forever hang over his head? You know? I don't know. It's a very weird type of... I see like multiple sides of it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm catching up. Trey said, I'm convinced a lot of this outrage is performative. Like, people are dogpiling not because they actually care about the harm in the old tweets, but because it's trending to be mad at someone with a platform. Mob said, I'm a bit iffy on the tweets thing because people mature at different paces. 1214 said it'll continue to no matter what album he makes or era he hops into. Yeah, Dip said, if you're not willing to accept that he's changed, it's understandable. Right, I understand that too. Ali said, I'm not on social media, so I don't even know what tweets were said. Child, don't look. Child, don't even. Whatever you think, double it and make it the worst. Like, don't even look. Ali said, I still decided to be a fan and just accepted his past. My thing with Tyler, for me personally, is that everyone can speak for themselves. But I feel like for me, I have acknowledged that wild shit was said, but he's addressed it. And not only taking the accountability and addressed it, but I feel like, again, we all know these people and how they live in their day-to-day life, but I feel like he's grown from how he used to act, right? Say for instance, and I hate to throw this man in the mix, right? But say for instance, Chris Brown. My issue with Chris Brown, and why I've said many times that I'm just not a Chris Brown fan, like I can't get behind it, is because yes, the Rihanna incident, like when I saw those pictures when I was in high school, like those were still engraved in my brain. And Chris Brown has came out and apologized and gone. He did the Michael Jackson tribute and he cried on stage and he did the sympathy tour and like all of that. But I feel like with Chris Brown, the behavior hasn't really changed. I feel like every other year there's a headline saying he fought somebody in a club. He has a restraining order out against him. Is this, and this, and that. So it's like, that's why I ask, what does accountability look like for everyone? Because yes, very valid. Someone can say that they're sorry for something, but if they're still doing the same type of actions, then are you really sorry? Or are you just saying it because, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so that's why I feel like the conversation with Tyler for me is a little bit different. That man is still out here flipping and being a menace. So like, I don't know if I could fully believe if you're really sorry for your actions. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Okay, let me catch up in the chat. Let me catch up. Sagal said, I do agree. People don't have to accept his apology, and that's fine. I refuse to take Twitter serious though because they're using Raymonte Blacks as a slur. Jesus, what a nasty place that is. Jesus, my God. Kendra said, we're talking about this. Tyler's always put a bad taste in my mouth from his antics years ago, but y'all saying he's better. So, and that's valid. That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand both sides. I understand people seeing like how Tyler used to act and being like, yeah, I don't want no parts. I completely understand that. And I'm not saying that you guys are wrong in feeling like that either, because I get it. Raymonte Blacks is Jesus, God. But okay, Shauna said, we are in the age of cancel culture. I feel like a majority of that is I feel like a majority of that is fueling this. I unfortunately don't think it'll be addressed though, because also, to everyone's point, and not even just with Tyler, I can't think of another celebrity at this point, but say a celebrity or say a person has come out and apologized for their actions and has changed their behaviors, and then years down the line this comes back up, and do we expect people to keep apologizing for the same, you know what I mean? Like, how, I don't know. It does feel like we do this. We have this conversation like every couple years. I don't know. I just think it's really crazy that all of this sparked from D'Angelo passing away. That's like the wildest, man. Jeez, I hate that. Ali said, I don't think anyone's ever been canceled successfully but Daniel Caesar. I've never seen him. He said, y'all won't cancel me. Y'all said, bet. Right, exactly. If the behavior has changed. Ray said, I wouldn't. You're not getting any more apologies from me after that. Maxie said, I think people who never like Tyler are okay with dogpiling. Family said, for me, I always say a lot of people don't really want people to change to get better. No matter how much you improve yourself, they'll always hold that one thing or maybe more than one thing over your head. Like you said, Chris Brown is a repeat offender, so it's understandable that he won't get the grace yet. But even if he became a saint for the next 10 years, they'll still hold this over his head. Right, right. Yeah, I don't. Oh, and Goldlink. Oh, that was a canceling. That's okay. We talk about people that have been canceled now. Because why would you say that about Mac Miller? Why would you say that? Chrisette Michelle, also very valid. And I think it's crazy that Chrisette Michelle is still, I don't know. I haven't heard anything from her lately, but I think that's crazy that she was canceled in such a way. And then other performers have performed for Trump. And now it's like, well, that's, well, come on. That's, I think that's wild. So yeah, so I say all this to say, I understand where both sides are coming from. I just wonder what the end goal is. But I do feel like, unfortunately, like this is just something that some of the lashings are like, yeah, man, you were saying some wild shit. I can't sit here and endorse any of that. Like you were saying some shit. And so like the lashings, I understand, but it's like, what after the end of all of it, what is the end goal? What's the end goal here? He already apologized. He already spoke about it. So what? I don't know. Like, where do we go from here? I don't know. This is not a, let me say this. This is not a, what's the word I'm looking for? This is not a excuse. It's not a valid, because mind you, when I was in my teenage years and 20s, I was not saying some of the stuff that he was saying. But it's interesting because like, even for those of us who were there, and some of us were not there, but those of us who were there in the 2000s, 2010s, the internet was a very, like, even when we watch old movies together for movie night, and we'll watch like 2000s movies, and we'll see like some of the stuff that they say, and we're like, ugh, why would you say that? The early 2000s were a very nasty, different type of time. And so Ali said, I had a good time. Please. I had a good time. And so also during that time too, I feel like a lot of people were just, not to that extent, but I feel like a lot of people were putting stuff out and didn't even have any concept of like what the internet was going to be, what social media was going to be, what an actual digital footprint looks like. It was a nasty time, y'all. It was a nasty time. And I hate that a lot of that was like normalized at that time, because it was just, Messa Marie said you could definitely say what was on your mind. No tongue biting, high key. And it's interesting too. I say that to say it's interesting too, because like during the early 2000s, it was the Wild Wild West. Everybody was saying whatever. And then I feel like what really sparked the change in becoming more socially aware of like what you're putting out and becoming more, they turn woke into a slur, but like woke still means a thing to me, okay? And becoming more woke and becoming more aware, I think it was more so like after Trayvon Martin, after Mike Brown, like during that time frame, and people were like, "Oh yeah, no, I don't think we should do that. I think we should stand up and I think we should start to pull it together." And that's when like body positivity started to come into full force, and maybe we shouldn't use those words to talk about certain people, and maybe we shouldn't do this and maybe we shouldn't do that. And so it's interesting because we got to an era where things were more accepting and more positive, and now it's like we're going backwards in this. I am baffled that the R word came back into the fold. I thought that was out of here. And the fact that people just be saying it just so willy-nilly, I'm like, how did we go backwards? It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Y'all were not around when Hillary Duff got on the Disney Channel talking about you can't say something is gay. Like, y'all did not see the commercials. Like, there were movements in place, okay? And so the fact that we're going backwards is just like, did we learn nothing? Did we learn nothing? It's just really crazy to me. I don't know. This is wild. Wild. Do you know what you say when you say, yes, Hillary Duff, exactly, yeah. It's just, it's crazy. Not us, not we're going backwards, but I feel like society is going backwards. And that's really crazy to me. That's really wild to me. Yes, it was a commercial. I say yes, Hillary Duff, exactly, yes. Brooke said, I don't know what timeline I stumbled in, but get me out. I'm saying, I see people say and type up the R word, and I'm like, what? What? How did we go back to 2004? Like, how did we? It's crazy. It's so insane. So yes, I say all that to say I'm not condoning any of the shit that Tyler was saying because it was wild. I just think he should have deleted the tweets. When he made his initial apologies and addressed it and like all of the things, he probably should have deleted the tweets, because now at this point, maybe it is just going to keep popping up over and over again, especially because his fan base is changing, because his music is changing, and now he is centering more of his blackness in music, and now you have a newer fan base and they're seeing all of this for the first time, and it's like, brother, what the hell is this? And so I don't know. Not just say I wish the rent went back to 2004. Come on. First acknowledge, then show intent, then do action, and in that order. Dip said at this point, leave it up because now deleting it is going to look crazy. And so maybe that's the other point too. Maybe that's why he kept the tweets up, because maybe he feels like he apologized and he already addressed it. So why? I don't know. All of this from a D'Angelo post. Rest in peace, D'Angelo should really be the moral of the story here. I don't know. Yeah, this is crazy. This is a mess. And like I was saying before, I do feel like this Tyler conversation has popped up every couple of years, but I will say this is the biggest. I ain't seen it big like this. I said, ooh, everybody's up. Woof. And so back to our original conversation. I feel like taking Tyler out of it, I feel like the internet do be hanging things over people's head, and it's like, damn, I don't know if anybody could ever like really, really, fully, truly grow. I don't. I feel like this isn't the last time that this conversation about Tyler is going to come up, though. Just say we all make mistakes. Some people will never forgive, and that's something you have to sadly accept, right? Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, with this, I hope that Tyler realizes that, yeah, even though you apologize, yeah, there's very well a big group of people that cannot accept, because the stuff that he was putting out, regardless of what age you were, it was wild, y'all. It was, yeah. I thought I saw some stuff back in the day, but like the stuff that they were digging up this weekend, I said, oh, Whoa, that is something. And so also with this, I just hope everyone learns a valuable lesson about digital footprints. Yeah. Yeah, they were digging deep in the crates. I said, where were these at? How did y'all find these? Did y'all just have these in the tuck? I remember some of his own friends, like the internet, were looking at him crazy back then. And see, Vaughn, that's the crazy part. I'm learning so much because I wasn't a fan of Tyler back in the day. So I don't know like what the backlash was at that time. I just know when he first came out, I said, no, that's not my vibe. I can't get down with it. I found out that he got banned in countries. I found out about the merch and about, I'm like, oh my God, Jesus, what, what? And you know what's interesting too? As we were talking about that time frame, right? And everybody's, not everybody, a lot of people online are saying like edgy and wild shit for attention and blah blah blah. It does remind me of like where we are as a society, and if I could connect the two, it kind of reminds me of streaming. It almost kind of reminds me specifically of IRL streamers and that type of like rage baity type of let me get some attention, let me get you to give me a reaction, kind of like, it all reminds me of that. And it's interesting how like that just continues to repeat itself but also evolve in like whatever the new medium is. You know what I'm saying? I don't clip farming, anything for engagement and clicks. It's like it's very that. It's very that. And Mob, I hate that because now when you talk about streaming, everyone thinks that streaming is IRL and everyone thinks it's like that. And it's like, whoa. Whoa. They just think that's part of internet culture. Oof. Trey said, I've been a fan since Bastard. I remember the Odd Future era in high school. White kids in my classes loved the shock stuff, and some of them use it as a pass to say wild things to us, only to get shocked in the jaw. That's interesting. And so because I wasn't a fan of early Tyler, I am curious about what that shift was like when he went from like, I don't know, all the early albums, when he went from Goblin Bastard Wolf to like Flower Boy Igor. Like I am kind of curious like what the core fan base was. The shift sort of started with Cherry Bomb, but his weird ass fans refused to accept that he sounds nothing like what they're actually a fan of anymore. And so that's a different conversation too, right? That's why I was saying like this whole thing is multi-layered. That's a different conversation too, because to my understanding, a lot of this started was because he, throughout the years, at least the years that I've been listening to Tyler, throughout the years, Tyler has paid respect to different black artists or black music. He had Charlie Wilson on the album. He had DJ Drama. And so he did like his D'Angelo tribute on social. And he was saying like, wow, D'Angelo really shaped my life, blase, blase. And I guess he had to turn the comments off because people in his comments were like, who the fuck is D'Angelo? Where's the Sticky music video? And very much of that. And to my understanding, he liked a tweet saying that he resents a lot of his core fan base because they don't understand the art and the upholding of the music that he's trying to put out. And so a lot of the conversations I'm hearing too are people being like, well, Tyler, you made this fan base, so I don't know why don't act shocked now. Like, this is the fan base, right? A lot of people are saying he built this house, so don't act shocked and surprised now. So it's a lot of different, it's a lot of different conversations happening, right? And for that, you might have to take the lashings. I mean, that's a great point, right? Okay. So I've said this many times at the beginning of my streaming career, but I also feel like there's a lot of newer people in here, so they don't know. We don't be saying the N-word in here. I know I can say it, no problem, right? But when it comes to the chat, me and the mod squad, we don't have your identification, and we don't have the means to see if everybody's who they say they are. And so we have made a decision years ago to not say it at all, myself included, not say it on stream because I never want anyone to feel so comfortable to say it in the chat. Especially, I'll be damned. I'll be damned if it's a bunch of people who aren't really who they say they are in here saying the N word. So for me, I just made it like, nope, nobody's gonna say it. We just gonna wrap it up. Nobody's gonna say it. So I say that to say with the Tyler situation, yeah, I don't know if you can necessarily be shocked if you started off curating a certain kind of fan base and now that you've aged out of that and now that you want to tap into like, I don't know if you can necessarily be surprised that they're still hanging around. Does that make sense to everyone? Does that, does that, I can't have everybody posting their 23 and me in here. Like, it's not going to be a slur off in here. So, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, this conversation is very, like, multi-layered. Not past the Brie. Thank you for the TED Talk. Yeah, it's a lot of different, I don't know. Mob said they can't say it, but you met me. I'm cool, right, Mob? I don't know. Just kidding. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very sticky situation. I don't know. I really don't.